Don't wake me up.
Don't wake me up if I'm dreaming. California dreams. Just let me lay here in the sun. What does it say that I literally haven't looked at that in like 15 years?
Love that.
Maybe 20 years.
I don't know, man. There's a lot of things that just kind of stick with you through the ages. And
I
it's
know all the
weird.
words.
Yeah, that's a weird one to know all the words too, though.
Yeah, it is a little bit weird, right?
Yeah.
It's a little bit weird. It's a little bit weird.
It's like S Club.
S
Club. Ain't no party like an S Club party. Oh.
Everybody get down tonight. S Club. You know, All Saints.
Oh, yeah.
Never have
Ever
felt
so low.
gonna dig me out of this
Inside home.
Yeah.
They're a good looking group.
I'm not crazy. Boy, I'm in a daze.
They were the
Scoops.
Yeah.
Boy, I'm in a daze.
I think they were like the Spice Girl competition.
They were
trying
ultra
to.
Christian though, ultra nice.
And also one hit wonder.
Yeah.
No, they
very
had
much.
two. They had another one.
Yeah, they had the ballad and then
sorry.
they had
Yeah.
their first pop one.
Don't fuck around.
Yeah, I will fuck you up. All right, you want to do the snap?
Oh yeah, I forgot how to do that. Surf dudes with attitudes. Kinda groovy. Laid back moods.
Space dudes with attitudes.
Space dudes. Where the fucking space dudes come
Flying Gundams. You fucking idiot, Mikey. It's the show that we're doing.
And welcome back
Today we're
to
covering
Anime
California Dreams.
Shmanime. We are not doing California Dreams.
We should though.
We are doing. What are we doing, Jay?
My fucking birthday episode, bitch.
It is Jay's birthday, so we're doing Dick Fight Island, guys.
Wow.
No, we're not.
That empty threat is gonna keep on going.
It
now.
is. No, guys, today we are covering what I would consider to be one of my absolute all-time favorite animes, period. Definitely my favorite mecha anime of all time.
That's a good one.
Mobile
That is a
Suit
good one.
Gundam 0083 Stardust Memory.
Let's go.
Happy birthday to you.
Nice. That was sick. That was sick. Thank you. That was the best birthday gift I could ever hope for. You guys actually doing that. That was dope. That was very sick.
Respect.
Um,
Yeah. So I'll kick
shit.
it off. I think I like Gundam.
I think
Yeah.
I like what I'm hearing.
I think I like that
like
too.
them, dude.
Especially since Jay and I are both huge Gundam fans.
Definitely.
So here's
this
some
is
notes
good.
I have on all Gundams that hold up for this. It's generally really smartly written. The plots are well thought out. Good stories, good characters, good pacing, and that includes the first Gundam exposure I had, which was like a whole series boiled down into 3 movies that still felt comfortable to watch.
And not to mention, you went from the first 3 movies,
Yeah.
and then we jumped to Char's Counterattack,
Yeah.
because we haven't done Zeta or Double Zeta,
No.
and this is a prequel to Zeta and Double Zeta.
We also did War in the Pocket. That's the only other one I've seen.
Yes.
Oh yeah, and we did War in the
Yeah.
Pocket, which is another side
Totally.
story. But this is like,
We're jumping around in
Yeah.
a little bit within the timeline
Yeah.
that we're in. But,
Sure.
but so far, we've stuck strictly to the Universal Century.
Yeah.
Which means everything that we've watched is in the same universe and all is connected.
yeah, I would have to say, like, since all of that happened, this has been probably the best animation that Gundam had produced within the Universal Century until Unicorn, I would say. Because the fucking fights in this,
They're wild.
And not only wild, but also I love me a beefy boy. I love me a beefy boy.
The GPO 2.
Which one's that one?
The one with the nuke.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I fucking love a beefy boy.
That's
like,
that's a thick suit, man.
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, especially when they got it when you were introed to it, standing right next to the GPO one, and you're
Yeah.
just like, he's just a little baby boy.
Yeah.
And then beside him is you can tell like the fucking Darth Vader of
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
mobile suits, the one they load the nuke into.
Yeah.
you
I mean,
know?
like, I'm surprised I don't have that Gunpla, the GPO2.
because they've only ever released a high grade and it's
Yeah.
not that good. Well,
Yeah.
actually, they have a master grade, but it's real shit. The high grade is a bit better, but even still, it's not good. It's one of those kits that is so due for a fucking 2.0 or a proper master grade.
You want a beefy boy?
I love a beefy boy.
Yeah, but they also need to redo the GPO one. There's a real grade of that, but the master grade and the high grade are shit. But
GPO one's okay.
I've built the GPO one. That was one of my favorite builds. One of the most insanely detailed model kits out there. For anybody who likes Gunpla, highly recommend. Will say the waist joint was going to be a problem for you, so have some glue handy. But
Dude, we just came off of Genshiken,
Yeah,
and
I
you know how we feel, how Jay and I feel about our Gunpla, man.
yeah, I do know.
and I would say, like, when it comes to my obsession with mobile suits and their designs and their aesthetics and the way they look, between this and Char's counterattack, this I think is my favorite like mecha design roster in anything. I love. I know it's kind of a plain Jane hero suit, but I love the GPO one, and then the GPO 2 full burner, and then eventually the GPO 3. You know, I love the look of that mobile suit. I think it's just. There's something so mean and militant and
It's a very standardized, but like it hits all the points.
yeah, but there's
right?
just a little bit of flair, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
over like the Mark II, which you get in Zeta, you know, and obviously Zeta and Double Zeta, you have the Zeta Gundam and the Double Zeta Gundam, and those are really wild designs. So this to me just it feels like an OG proper hero Gundam suit with just the right amount of flair, you know, and also you get like 2 separate major upgrades to this mobile suit as the series goes on, which for trust me, Jordy, for a nerd like us, like that's sick to see something get upgraded and upgraded. Like it's definitely fan servicey to do something like that.
Okay,
That's
sure.
like our that is a good way to say that.
It's our kind of fan service.
It is a mech fan service, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like wait until we get into 00.
Double D.
Double.
We're talking fan service, right?
But I'm surprised you said that too, because I know how much you love the Sazabi, which is
Well, that's why I said this and Char's counterattack
Yeah,
are
okay,
my
yeah.
2 favorites.
Yeah.
As far as mech design. So, and there are some great key frames in this series
Oh my
when
God.
they zoom in on the Gundams and like there's some close-up shots where I'm like, frame that, put it in a fucking gallery like now, dude. That is a work of art.
Yeah.
And the thing is, unfortunately, it is kind of jarring sometimes when they cut to them.
Yeah.
Because they're so much better, those frames, than the
Yeah.
ones that come on either side, that
Yeah.
it does kind of show off some of the flaws artistically, but
Fair.
like,
I think it's effective though. Like, and this is from someone who usually doesn't notice those things. Like when those keyframes hit, I
Yeah.
was like, whoa.
whoa,
Yeah.
that looks good.
Yeah. And so instead of taking away, it like really emphasized those
Good,
moments.
man.
It did
I
what it
love
was
that.
supposed to do.
yeah.
I love hearing that.
I know you
it
do.
was really the one thing I do find about this
Happy
anime.
Okay, sorry, Mikey. It's all good.
But yeah, the one thing I do find is hat. But is that so? From what I remember, this anime they switched directors halfway through.
Yeah.
And-
1 to 7 was actually a female director, and 8 to 13 was a separate director.
Yeah, and so I noticed when I was watching it, the second half is really where everything picks up, but also at the same time, it's almost as if they put too much into it. For like, it needed to be that director from the beginning,
Interesting.
right? So
I
like,
don't think I noticed, to be honest
you
with
didn't
It
see,
felt
feel
cohesive.
To me, I mean, if I had known, I would have probably been able. Oh, that's the point. But without knowing, I don't think I noticed.
Good.
Yeah, I was just, I was
good,
enjoying it.
yeah.
I was immersed.
That's a good sign.
That's a
Yeah.
good sign for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
All right.
Okay.
We'll stop.
I
Okay.
fucking hate you guys.
All right.
Yeah, because the first half didn't it feel a little bit like slow burny?
Definitely felt slow burn, and that was actually one of my notes. Is I don't want to say slow burn. I want to say well paced, because one thing I find is that like these space military kind of shows can be really overwhelming. There's a lot of characters, a lot of moving pieces. And I think by making it what you're calling slow burning actually served to allow me to digest it in a way that my fucking simpleton mind could understand and follow along with. Does that make sense?
Okay. It helps in Gundam too because
Yeah.
it's very, like you said, there's a lot of characters. It's very namey.
Yeah.
and
a
they
lot
throw-
of moving parts.
They throw
Yeah.
around names like crazy, and sometimes it's hard to keep up. You know
And
what I mean?
places and maneuvers. Are we on a colony? Are we on Earth? Where the
Well,
fuck are
you
we?
also have to know these, like all the references from the previous seasons.
Yeah.
Right, like from the original, you see like, and even in what's your waifu was had a cameo in this. What's her name? With the long purple hair or like
Oh,
the short,
Haman Karn.
yeah
Yeah.
She had a
Yeah,
a
she's a
cameo in this
little girl. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a horrible name.
Well, I mean,
Haman?
She is not
Karn.
a great
Karn,
character.
Yeah. They're not good at names.
She's a villain.
A lot of
yeah.
the names, though, I'll be honest with you.
Oh, they're rough.
Purpleton. Nina Purpleton.
Nina.
Yeah,
fucking,
Nina Purpleton.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
Nina Purpleton.
Let's just pause. Hold on. Okay, we're gonna get into characters. I don't
Right
want.
away?
No. I don't want to jump the gun.
Okay.
We'll get into that in characters.
okay,
I don't want
okay,
to talk
okay.
too much about Nina
Okay,
Purpleton.
okay.
I do want to say though, like as far as a description for me,
Yeah.
at least up to a point,
Yeah.
this is Top Gun
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
with Gundams.
Right down to the soundtrack.
Literally, dude.
Yeah.
Literally.
And I will say, guys, if you don't feel like watching a full Gundam series, that's fine. Just watch that opening training sequence between Ku and Chuck.
Yeah.
And I can't remember who they're fighting against, but like their little training montage. I think they're fighting each other.
Yeah, they're fighting each other.
Yeah. That is so fucking 1990.
Yeah.
1991. Like
Yeah.
just macho fucking action movie bro shit.
Yeah.
So I'm Maverick. Nah, I'm Frost.
But
Stay
it's-
frosty.
It's so fucking on the nose,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
And I just think it's like it's just a combination I never knew I needed.
Yeah.
But it matches up and lines up so fucking perfectly. And then from that point on, like Ku is Maverick and Chuck is Goose.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
1,000%.
Big time. Yeah.
Actually, this is, you know what? What's funny? As much as I love Char,
Gato.
this is the Gundam that I wish it all started with.
Yeah.
Right? Like if they released this before, like I mean, I granted they
It does
had
kind of
to
feel origin-y.
right?
Yeah, I get you.
You know what I mean? Like if this was the one that was the OG Gundam with this kind of story, and
Yeah.
and like I said, I know that the Godfather with the original RX-78, like blah blah blah, like you had to have it, but like this really is it though. Like this is really, I think, is what solidifies the UC universe.
Yeah.
As far as like it being such a powerhouse.
I agree, man. I think this is like where the interpersonal conflicts in Gundam really shine. Like a lot of the dynamics and relationships I'm seeing here are dynamics I wish that Amuro and Char and you know had it kind of explored or gotten into, rather than kind of a more of a one-dimensional rivalry of them just seeing each other on the battlefield and being like, fuck, I gotta beat that guy.
There's many moments where where either of them are like, am I on the right team? Are these guys really all that bad? Like, you know what I mean? Like they have that kind of mutual respect, mutual understanding.
Sure.
Yeah. It's that warrior against warrior respect, right?
Totally. Yeah.
But this, you know, there's a lot of different relationships and a lot of dynamic relationships, a lot of changing relationships in
A lot
this.
of interesting ones.
They're just different ones, you know?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
You want to go Senpai's Corner? You want
Yeah.
to tell
Yeah,
us?
let's do that.
Yeah.
Do we have an hour to kill, or like?
Happy
birthday to Jay.
Anyways, Mobile Suit Gundam 0083 Stardust Memory, or Kido Senshi Gundamu 0083 Stardasuto Memory.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
It
dude.
sounds like you're making fun of them.
It does.
Yeah.
But that's what it is.
Yeah.
Is a 13-episode anime OVA series set in the Gundam universe. The first volume, containing two 30-minute episodes, was released in Japan on May 23rd, 1991. Subsequent volumes, containing one 30-minute episode each, followed every 1 or 2 months. The final volume went on sale on September 24th, 1992. The series was directed by Mitsuko Kase, who is a groundbreaking female director in anime in a time when there were simply almost zero female anime directors. She's also kind of I guess a godmother of the mecha genre. She was doing it back when mecha was really starting to get its stride.
Okay.
And yeah, she's a total badass and deserves all the love. So she did episodes 1 to 7, and that was followed up by Takashi Imanishi directing episodes 8 to 13. That was another guy. Both of these directors had done previous work in Gundam on Zeta, Double Zeta, and so they had been around and they had been well known in the mecha world, well trusted. People who know a lot about mecha will notice that I didn't bring up Tomino, who's the godfather of the Gundam Universal Century. He did the original. He did Char's Counterattack. Like he's the guy for the UC. So his absence here is kind of noteworthy, but it kind of makes sense when you think about this as like truly a side story compared to the 1 Year War and the big Char Amuro rivalry. This is like a little snippet of a story that you may have otherwise never heard about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Operation Stardust could have just gone off without a hitch, or, got swept under the rug, kind of like it ends up getting swept under the rug, right? Like
In the end, yeah.
In the end,
It comes and goes, basically.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So it's a story that like we almost like don't deserve and like we should never have got.
Yeah.
But we did.
Yeah.
And
Which is
for it to be
awesome.
so good,
Yeah.
despite being such a little side blip in the grand scheme of the story, is insane. But also, this story does have some far-reaching consequences into the rest of the UC that you don't really understand until you
Watch the whole thing.
get the whole fucking picture, right?
the idea of the Titans and whatnot. Yeah.
So basically, what happens real quick. Actually, I'll get into that after. I'm getting ahead of myself.
He's excited, guys.
Anyway, so a movie compilation does exist. Okay, I wouldn't allow you to deprive yourself of the true form.
12
but
episodes. How much shorter is it really?
I think it's just condensed down. That was directed by Imanishi. That was released in August of 1992. So the characters were designed by Toshihiro Kawamoto, and mechanical designs were by Shoji Kawamori of Macross fame, for any of you Macross fans out there.
Lacrosse, good game.
And of course, Hajime Katoki, who Katoki is fucking legendary. If you've ever built a Verka mobile suit Gundam kit, that was designed by Katoki. He's like so quintessential in the overall aesthetic of the Gundam itself and the mobile suits and how they have developed over the years.
Verka kits are fucking bomb.
Yeah, Katoki is he's like you make a Mount Rushmore of designing robots. Katoki goes on.
Sick.
He just like literally refines everything. Like I have a Gundam Wing Verka kit, right? And
it's never looked better.
It's never, and that kit's come out like I don't know how many times before that Verka kit.
Oh my!
Right, and it's still has not looked better than that one.
Yeah, definitely.
You wouldn't know shit because
I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. I looked over at your things, and I can see the ones on the end, and that's it.
So real quick overview of the plot, guys. The year is Universal Century 0083. 3 years have passed after the 1 Year War ended with the Principality of Zeon's defeat. The Delaz fleet, a group of Zeon remnants, launches an attack on Earth to steal the big boy, the GP-02 Physalis Gundam, which is a mobile suit with nuclear launch capability. And the rest is the story that we're going to go over right now. But that's basically where things go. And so this actually has been adapted into a manga after the fact, and actually has, it explores a little bit more in detail some of what goes on, builds on it a little bit, but generally kind of retells the story. But for anybody who really wants every single thing you can milk out of this little chunk of time, the manga is definitely worth checking out. The art is fantastic.
I feel like I need to read the manga now because
if you liked this, you'll love the manga, dude.
Well, I have a couple gripes with this. Like as far as like I mean, this is not by no means a perfect anime.
Right.
It is a great anime. Like,
Yeah.
and we both know how much I love Gundam.
I also know how hard that is for you to say, Mike.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. And it's like, but there are things that I just felt like could have, because of the director change halfway through, there's just some cohesiveness that just would have made it like that much better. And I'll explain like when I give my score at the end of this of like why.
Well, we can talk about it when we get to that point in our plot
Fill
as well.
me in. School
when
me.
we
See
hit
if I
that,
noticed it.
when
Maybe.
when we hit that point, let us know.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I almost want to say let's skip talking about the world because we've been here before. I
Yeah,
feel like if you want to know about the world of Gundam, go back and check out our,
Definitely.
our other episodes.
Gundam episodes.
Yeah,
the first
and really,
one.
if you're watching this, you know Gundam. Why are you here? Why are you watching this?
But I mean, everybody knows like the 1 year war is over. You know,
Yeah.
there's been a few colony drops on old planet Earth.
Yeah, there's some new prototype suits,
And,
nuclear weapons.
and Xeon, which is our the main
Yeah.
space antagonist, I guess, is in shambles. They've been defeated, and everybody's kind of scattered now, and everybody's kind of running for the hills because they lost.
Yeah, and that's where we're at, basically.
That's where we're at.
Yeah.
That's where we're picking up.
Okay, well, let's hop forward then for the art. Do we still have another hour to talk about, or like happy birthday? Okay, sorry, I'll stop doing that. But like, no, for real,
I
like,
won't.
from a person who doesn't like understand how important or whatever, or even like the ranking of quality of art, like it's fantastic looking. You know, that unique hand drawn animation that you see of this time, you don't really see anymore, and even of this time, you barely see it this good.
Yes,
Right?
exactly. Like even if you were to put this animation up towards like current animation that is coming out now,
This is still better.
this is yeah. Agreed 100% because it's
They
like,
don't do it like this anymore.
Yeah, you can't get the soul of this art in what you get now. Like it's some of the stuff looks great. It looks fantastic. I'm all for it. You guys all know that I'm a weeb, but like there is and I've said it before. The hand-drawn pieces where you just see so much more contrast and grittiness and it's just a vibe.
Yeah.
It is such a good
Dude,
vibe.
my notes literally say it's a vibe.
Amazing. dude.
Literally, that's written in my notes there. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
No, I mean, and it's stuff that they're trying to get nowadays. Like they're trying to get back to it. I mean, if you guys saw the,
But it's too polished.
it is. It'll never be the same because technology is just different. But like if you guys saw the Jujutsu Kaisen movie, Mappa I think was kind of going for a similar vibe, I guess, with some of their, especially some of their keyframes in that movie. They were trying to emphasize the hand feel. Some of the imperfection in the line weights really goes a long way to make it feel like it's coming from a person and not a computer.
Especially like those Black Flash moments. Like, don't get us wrong, guys. Like, JJK was awesome.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
then-
I'm thinking even like specifically like the close-ups on like Ghetto's face in that movie reminded me of a lot of the close-ups you see here of especially the villainous characters. You got crazy dynamic lighting, a ton of line detail, the kind of thing where like you just know like that's going to be a close-up shot. It's probably going to be a still.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because nobody in their right mind would redraw that
Over
that
and
level
over.
of detail over and over and over and over. And that was the technology at use
Yeah.
for this, right?
Yeah.
Is hand animation, guys. They're drawing every fucking frame
Yeah.
and they're flipping the shit back and forth and they're like there's no computer help here.
And I think in that sense, you're kind of comparing apples to oranges when you bring up JJK, because they may be like influenced by this, but like this is the best apple, and that's maybe the best orange.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
they're trying to do it, but they will never be able to
Yeah.
get it again.
That's
like
right.
the orange wants to be an apple.
Yeah.
But
But
it
it
can only
can't.
be an orange apple.
It's a really good orange, and you made it look
Yeah.
like an apple.
No, it just went to
Or
a
it's
grapefruit.
like when we eventually
became a grapefruit.
when we eventually breed seeds out of apples.
Yeah.
And then one of those seedless apples is like, well, I want seeds.
Yeah. And it tries to get seeds back. It's like,
yeah.
It's not.
yeah.
Yeah.
Your
and then
seeds
it
are
finds
weird.
a
Your
pen,
seeds are weird.
Yeah, your
and
vibes
then
are
there's
off.
an apple. And then you take the apple pen. Happy birthday.
No, that's not a birthday present to me.
No. Okay. Also, I want to mention. Jay mentioned keyframes, and you mentioned the close-ups.
Yeah.
I noticed very specifically some of the establishing shots or like the end of a scene shots where, like, for example, Ku is standing on the hand of his Gundam.
Yeah.
And you're set back, and
Yeah.
you see the landscape, and the Gundam's crouching, and it's holding him, and his like cape or whatever is flapping in the wind. Those were breathtaking shots for me.
Absolutely.
There were a couple of those where I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of the transition shots too, like when they're fighting in all the destroyed war zones, where you see
Yeah.
Gundams and pilots who are just dead in space that have been dead for years.
And layers of space
Yeah.
debris that's all floating on different angles, on different depths, and it's just all it's deep depth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The midground and background animation too, because usually they don't put a lot of effort into that, right?
Yeah.
It's always the foreground,
Definitely.
right? Especially with the main characters.
Yeah.
Like they put just as much effort into those,
Totally.
which is awesome to see.
None of their bangs are going behind their eyeballs. Like really, just really well done.
And I mean, I definitely think like, Ku is a little bit of a, typical down the middle, straight line, anime protagonist with spiky black hair, right? That's
Yeah.
very common, but
Ku's a bit of a wiener.
but I think yeah, definitely.
All the leads in the Gundams have been so far.
Yeah, there's
I
a bit
think-
of a bit of a formula.
But as far as like character design, like I adore the character design in this series. I think everybody has some individuality to them.
I found that
Yes.
too.
Everybody has defining features and characteristics. I was never confused at any point watching this about
Who was
two
who.
people being the same person.
Yeah, same.
Not once.
No.
And that is astounding.
Yeah. Forgot some of their names sometimes, but
Sure.
yeah, same.
Yeah.
You knew who was who.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You could see.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? It's like that right there. When we talk about any really good anime, we always talk about how good the character designs are and how different they are.
It's true.
Right, and being able to really differentiate their features.
Well, not only is that like an evidence of people doing good art, but it also helps to digest the story because who the characters are is integral to understanding what they're doing and what
Yeah.
their roles are. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Exactly.
But also, how much more of a character can you bring out just by their visual look
Yeah.
and their
Yeah.
and their vibe? I
Yeah.
mean, Mancha, like
yeah, great
that-
character design.
but like
Yeah.
that guy was designed perfectly for the character they wanted him to be.
Yeah.
For sure.
He looks exactly how he's supposed to.
Yeah.
You know?
100%.
And Gundam's actually always been very good at that because you have like Kai, for example, from like the first Gundam series. He was that guy with like the droopy eyes
Yeah.
who looked
Oh,
like
yeah,
a total
yeah, yeah, yeah.
wiener.
Yeah.
And then he was a total
Yeah.
fucking wiener.
Full on sold them out.
Yeah, he was purpose built.
Yeah.
And every character in
You're
this,
right.
I feel like, is very purpose built. I
Yeah.
mean, I think, there is even maybe a bit of a commentary going on with Chuck and Mora getting together and the contrast between those two characters. And they're playing up that, unlikely dynamic
Yeah.
and
I
how
love
that's a
that
bit of a
ship.
trope. It's
Her
my
and-
favorite
Her
ship.
and Nina, I think, is the real contrast. I think she had
Totally.
she had to be the way she was
Totally.
to contrast her.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean,
There's a bit of a Pinky in the Brain kind of thing going on there.
You think so?
Yeah, a little
Interesting.
bit, but not in the Pinky not being. If Pinky was a bit more intelligent.
Keep going, Mikey.
I don't know. Anyway, guys, let's keep going.
yeah,
Let's
is
go.
Nina Pinky? Because she's a fucking idiot sometimes. But
Nina is
She is
fucking
kinda dumb
picky.
sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll get it.
Yeah,
Is
we'll
that,
get
is that
into
going to
that.
characters? Is that,
We
is
can
that
go to.
perfect?
I mean, I say we could talk about music, but we already did. Top Gun.
Top
The
Gun.
music,
They
I
lit-
think, is great.
They literally
Yeah.
rewrote Danger Zone.
They did.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of like John Williams Star Wars backing track score going on
Or,
as well, too.
orchestral.
And it's
symphonic
kind of
shit, yeah.
perfect the way those two blend together for this specific movie. I mean, it's kind of perfect.
Like I said,
It's
the-
Top Gun meets Star Wars.
Yeah.
Pretty
Well, that's
much.
exactly right. Like, and we,
Yeah, dude. I wish I wrote that at the top of the episode.
yeah.
but that's what I'm saying, right? Like this is also peak '90s, kind of like everything
Yeah.
needed to be extreme.
Yeah.
Right. Like so it's appropriate.
Yeah.
Right. And
Agreed.
And it definitely hit the mark for that.
100%. Okay, let's talk about characters. Let's talk about Ku, our number one guy.
Okay.
No, number 2 guy. Chuck's number 1 guy.
Yeah, Chuck
But
is number
anyways,
one.
go on.
Wait, Chuck is the glasses.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
is his name Chuck Keith?
Yes.
And
Yeah,
do they call him Keith,
Keith a
sometimes?
lot, yeah.
I wrote Keith. in
Yeah,
my
yeah,
notes.
Yeah.
Chuck,
You think he's
yeah,
number one guy?
Absolutely.
Chuck is best boy, and then number one guy
I
though
don't-
is Gato.
I don't love.
No, Gato's a shithead.
Gato is number one guy. Gato is number one guy.
I'm a Keith guy all the way.
Okay.
He's
No.
definitely my favorite character in the whole show.
He's kind of a piece of shit too, though. We'll get to that later, though.
Keith.
Yeah, a little
Keith?
bit. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. Okay, so we're talking
Dude,
about
all the
Ku. So
pictures?
Ku is exactly. He is a mobile suit enthusiast, right? Even he's a new soldier, but he's like obsessed with mobile suits. He's well read. He understands. He knows them all. He's obviously new type.
As they all are.
Yeah, they don't tell you. They don't say it in this at all. They don't even mention them.
Yeah, they don't mention it.
But he is.
Which is like
he hops in the Gundam and just immediately is the best at it.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's doing the best at this.
But you know what, though? I like the fact that they didn't bring up new type, because I think that new type business, when it was in the original series and for a side story like this, I think if they did put in new type, that whole storyline, the roots, I think would have taken away from this story.
It would muddle it. And what it did too is for a person like me who's seen a little bit of Gundam and has had a little bit of introduction to that new type concept, it allowed me to be like, I think he's a new type.
Yeah.
And you're like, look at what I figured out. Look at what I figured out. You know what I mean?
But even if like new type wasn't even a thing, all you would think of, he is the new ace. Right?
Sure.
He's a new Maverick, right? Like,
yeah. But I like that I know that there's something else going on. I know.
Yeah,
they don't have to tell me. I know.
Well, it's nice. It's nice to not be beaten over the head with a concept or a theme all of the time. You know what I mean? Especially when you know they could.
Yeah.
They very well could inject it all over this if they wanted to, but they're not.
Exactly.
And like Mikey said, it's not relevant to this story.
Yeah.
Nobody involved in this story is studying new types
No. Yeah.
or knows
It doesn't
about new
matter.
types or has talked about new types or has met another new type.
Yeah.
It's not at all relevant to any of these fucking characters.
It's good.
So cool. We don't need it.
Anyways, we know that he, at the very least, is one.
I definitely would think so.
Yeah.
Yes. And maybe Gato. And I mean,
Probably Gato.
you could maybe say that Seema has like a little bit.
Is
but
she
I don't know.
the villainous
Yeah,
character?
yeah.
Okay, cool. I forgot her name, but it's all good.
Seema's hot, though.
I mean, she's the snake bitch from
Basically.
From,
And what did I say about the snake bitch?
Yeah.
yeah, you love her. It's the fear boner. Mikey's got the fear boner.
Definitely.
Okay, so
real.
another thing about Ku, and this is kind of about the whole team, is like they all kind of care about each other and support each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he has like generals or lieutenants or whatever, captains who like, they hold him to standards, but they're nice to him.
Yeah.
Which is odd for a military show like this. You know what I mean?
Well, he gets in some trouble. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? Like they definitely
100%.
reprimand him when he needs it.
Oh, he's in solitary. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but like there's like a fatherly relation. There's a caring vibe there that you don't always see in those relationships.
It's the mentor in him, right? Like, and that particular lieutenant.
Yeah.
What was his name? Bernie. Yeah.
Lieutenant South Burning.
Lieutenant South Burning. Yeah.
Another great name.
Fucking great name.
Really good name, Gundam.
Right. Like he's the one who's like, kind of rose up in the ranks and is now taking care of his own squad, where he used to be part of the other three guys that came in who are just kind of like their own pilot squad.
Yeah, he was in those rogue kind of wild
child, and he had to kind of grow up and be like, oh, I got to take care of this kid now.
Yeah.
Right. And like, I mean, these guys are ensigns.
Yep.
Right. And so like, I got to make a good impression or be a good role model, essentially.
Well, and you hit another point there too that I was going to bring up about Ku and growing up, and this is kind of a trend in Gundam as well too, and I guess Lieutenant Burning had to do it as well, but like a lot of these people are forced to grow up too fast.
Yeah.
And like with Ku, that manifests in a way where he's bad at like normal youth shit. Like asking someone out on a date.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Picking up on hints.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And someone like Lieutenant South Burning, he's been through it all before, and he's like, oh, I'm nurturing this kid. I'm mentoring him. I'm going to help him get through it.
He's got to learn the hard way.
He's got to figure it out.
Through that.
Exactly. So I appreciate that.
Definitely.
We'll get into more of all these characters later on, so we'll zip past them a little bit quicker than I think we would like, but that's all good.
Yeah.
Nina Purpleton is a weirdly, interestingly layered character.
Yes.
To me.
I will say on behalf of the internet, one of the most despised characters.
Interesting.
In not just all of Gundam, but maybe all of anime, dude. I've seldom seen people speak with such venom towards a character.
Like her compared to what's her name from Char's Counterattack? Quest.
Different but similar levels of hate. Absolutely.
Really? Okay.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't put them in similar levels of hate, but I do dislike fucking Nina a lot.
Yeah.
I think they're entirely different types of hate. You hate them for totally different reasons, but I'm just saying on behalf of the internet, everybody hates Nina Purpleton.
Well, I can see where she's coming from in a lot of the ways she is. So like the layers I was talking about is she's a Gundam expert.
Yeah.
Right? She's very attached and concerned with their well-being, the Gundams, okay? She also likes Ku and has to navigate the fact that he's piloting her Gundams and is a little bit reckless. So she's constantly torn between this guy she likes and the way he's treating her projects that she also loves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's problematic for her. And that's a lot of the flip-flopping she does, which probably garners a lot of hate for her, is directly related to that. Right?
Somewhat, yeah. I mean, most of the hate comes from one of the later revelations that we'll get into in the plot.
That was a wild one.
Yeah, we're gonna get into those.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we'll get into it.
That's where I would say
Yeah.
90% of the hatred for her comes from.
Okay.
Yeah.
You would say 90% of the hatred comes from that?
Yes. I would say vast majority of the time when people talk about why they hate her,
Yeah.
it's the end of this show.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense to me.
Well,
Yeah.
People stand the earth fed.
Yep.
I
People
have
stand
issues.
too.
Yeah.
I have issues.
Yeah,
with-
because you're a
with
Gato
Fetty.
fanboy.
Yeah.
Of course you don't see any problem with what happens.
Yeah.
No,
Like, he's like,
no,
oh, Thanos was right.
I see. Fuck you. Yeah, do you know what I hate? Do you know what I hate?
What do you hate?
Not you, but when fans of ours don't subscribe
Okay.
or like,
Not bad.
or,
right.
or tell a friend.
Getting better.
Hey, you know what would be a great birthday present
Yeah,
to me?
there you go.
If you guys like or subscribe.
Happy birthday
Or
to you.
If you're watching this on Spotify or Apple,
Listening to Spotify,
whatever,
yeah.
whatever,
Or
rate
YouTube.
us, give us a rating.
Totally.
Yeah, rate us, leave a comment, tell a friend, because that's how
Yeah.
people get to know us.
It
Do
helps
those things
us.
for Jay's birthday.
Yes.
While I
If-
sing to him.
Not for me, do it for Jay.
That's right.
it.
That's
Yes.
right.
Okay. Let's talk about, because we just talked about Nina, we should talk about Mora, who is like her right-hand woman.
Yes.
I love Mora.
I kind of ship them.
them
Mora and
together.
Nina?
Yeah, I kind of do.
Okay.
I think. It's a little sisterly, but also like, I don't know. There's good vibes when they're together. Like they just really gel well
They
together.
balance
Okay,
each other
yeah.
They
out
balance
nicely.
each other really well.
Yes.
I do agree there.
They also have a weird shower scene
They
Yeah.
sure do.
with a sneaky nipple.
Yeah.
In the whole show.
One little
sneaky
one little-
nip.
and that was for me for my birthday.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
for you
okay.
for back.
Happy birthday. All right.
But
I will say, even without the ship that is not there. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah,
really a thing.
no.
I just was like, oh, that would be cool.
it would be I do see why you would ship those two, and I agree. It would
Yeah.
probably be much healthier.
Yeah.
But Nina is not healthy enough to have that healthy
Nina's
relationship.
not good at ships.
Yeah, just in general.
Nina needs to stay in the relationship with the Gundams and leave it
Yeah.
at that.
Yeah,
She's
yeah,
best
yeah.
suited with a non-living
Yeah.
partner.
I agree. Even without the ship, I kind of dig Mora. She's like a fiercely loyal soldier. You know what I mean? She's ultra caring to the people she cares about.
She's a badass.
She has that take no shit attitude.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
She's putting Mancha and her cronies in their place continuously.
Yes.
even her first meeting with Keith.
Yeah.
He like goes to like swat her away, like get out of my face. I'm talking to Nina.
Yeah, exactly.
And she fucking grabs his hand
Yeah. Yeah.
and then pulls him in, and he's like mumbles, and she's like, a date? Date sounds great. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And he's just like,
Yeah, I guess we're dating now. Yeah.
I was just like, I loved her right from that very
Yeah.
first intro. to her.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
she's awesome.
She's good shit.
Yeah.
We just talked about Mancha, who is a piece of shit.
On purpose.
on
But-
purpose.
At the end, it's a used to be. People can change.
Of course.
Yeah.
He's like the Iceman.
He's still probably a piece of shit when it comes to like treating women, but he definitely is like part of the team and
Yeah.
cares about his teammates.
He's the Iceman
Yeah.
from Top Gun.
Yeah.
He's the main competitor.
Totally.
For Ku for the top spot.
He's a legitimate pervert and peeping Tom.
But in the end,
Yeah.
ends up being a fucking solid guy, just like Val Kilmer.
Except like he can't forgive the photos.
Well, that's just dirty. It's just slimy.
You can't
That's
forgive
slimy.
it.
It's just slimy.
It makes a good guy and not good guy.
Yes.
Yeah, he's bad guy. And
He's bad guy.
He's does and it does mean bad guy.
Yeah.
This time, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let's talk about Keith now, or
But
what
on
was
par
the other
for
name?
90s though.
I mean, yeah. But
it
that's
was
gross.
everywhere.
Still gross.
Still
everywhere.
gross.
Still
Yeah.
gross.
Okay, so Keith, whose other name I'm not going to use because I won't forget it because I've been calling him Keith this whole time.
Keith is fine. I'm
He's
fine with Keith.
Okay,
Yeah,
so he's cool, but I didn't find his role in everything important. When you say you're a Keith guy, is that just because he's cool as shit?
His personality, I
Yeah.
absolutely loved. I thought he had like so many just awesome like comedic relief moments throughout
Yeah.
the series.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So he brought a lot of like levity to things.
levity for sure.
And I just liked him similarly to like Mora and Nina.
Yeah.
I liked Keith kind of a little
As
bit
a counterpart?
as a counterpart to Ku. You know what I mean? Like he was
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
little bit more of like the outgoing, extroverted. You know.
He's like, there's more than just being a soldier, is what he brings to the table.
There's more than
yeah,
just
he's-
staring at Gundams, dude. Like,
Yeah.
let's go live our life a little bit and have some fun. Like,
Except that
He's
the
the
way
support character for Ku.
he is,
Yeah.
except the way he does it is just like, you got to hook up with somebody, dude. Everyone's hooking up. We all are. You got to.
Yeah.
That, like over and over and over and over again.
Maybe that's part of why I like Keith.
Yeah. Dude,
I guess
these
so.
guys are young fucking ensign
They're
recruits.
soldiers, dude.
Yeah.
They're
Soldiers.
fucking young, dumb, and full of
yeah,
cum,
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Let's
young,
go.
dumb, and
Yeah.
full of cum. Exactly.
He also does condone and pass around like the photos of Nina,
Yes.
unconsented photos.
Yes.
So that
Yes.
makes him kind of bad guy too.
Yes.
Yes, but
kind of slimy.
he also, like, in his defense, he does learn from his mistakes. Actually, no.
Does he?
I don't know if he really ever has to from that.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. You
You
just
know?
never see that happening or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the one reassuring thing with Keith is that Mora's going to keep him in line.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So as slimy as he wants to be,
Yeah.
it's only going to go so far because the
Right.
iron fist of Mora is
Yeah.
going to fucking keep him in line.
Yeah.
And I think especially under the context of them two together as a unit,
Yeah.
I really love Keith with
Sure.
Mora.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Like-
it keeps him from being bad guy.
Right,
Yeah.
right, and I think it brings out all of his best qualities. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And I just love that dynamic. So
Yeah.
it makes me love him.
Yeah.
That's all.
I get you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
Actually, on that note, I drew a portrait of Keith a little while ago
Yeah?
that I took off of my web store, and I'm just gonna decide now because it's my birthday. I'm gonna put some of my Stardust Memory stuff back on my web store.
There we go.
If you guys like this as much as I do, I'm gonna have some cool fucking shit up on my web store. Hanger91.
There you go.
BigCartel.com.
Check it.
Yeah. Anyways.
Okay,
I
let's
love
talk
Keith.
about Gato,
Gato.
which means cat.
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 Yep.
I don't know if that's what that means, but that's it. He is
It's
that.
German for cat, right?
Yeah. I think Spanish.
Spanish?
Yeah.
We don't know.
I don't know.
We're
I
guessing.
mean, I just assumed German because it's Xeon.
It's Xeon.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
They're the Nazis.
So speaking of Xeon, he is like fully indoctrinated into Xeon.
Yeah.
You don't really get the backstory as to where he came from. Am I right about that?
No, not
Well,
really.
He was a so he was in the elite palace guard unit of Xeon. So
Okay.
he was like an elite soldier
Sure.
fighting for Xeon. He would have closely been guarding the Zabi family.
Okay.
Which is why Delaz immediately comes out and runs to him, and he's just like,
Yeah, he's
the
their top
Zabis are
guy.
fucking dead."
He's their top guy. At
Like
this
he
point.
would have been one of probably the top 10 guys that found out that the Zabis were dead
Okay.
as soon as it
Yeah.
happened.
So what's interesting about him is he doesn't really fit in with all the other Xeon parties at this time. Maybe before, when they were bigger, he did, but at this time, he seems like an outsider. And that unfolds more and more and more as
How
time
do
goes
you
on.
see that? Like, I see him as like the guy that everybody looks up to.
But like later on, when I don't know if it's his commander or whatever, is like kind of like bossing him around. He doesn't like it, and there's like, and then like, what's the girl's name again?
Seema.
Yeah, they have a couple interactions where he doesn't agree with the way she's acting. Where I think he's more altruistic in his belief in
He's
Xeon,
more of a
He is.
purist.
and they're more
Yeah.
radical and reckless in their belief in Xeon, right?
No, but that's only Seema's side, and also Seema's like
She's a double agent.
she's a double agent,
So
right?
you
Yeah,
can't
and
go
she's a
shot
she's a huge trader,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
and
yeah.
and he's picking up on that because
Yeah.
she sees like he's all like even Dalzine or whatever his name is, Delaz,
Yeah.
is like you were reborn from that moment when I saved you
Yeah.
or whatever, and this is your new mission, and is to bring about this new era of Xeon.
Xeon's in shambles, right? Like
Yeah.
they don't have a leader at this point. They're
Yeah.
kind of just running rampant.
Yeah.
And you're right. Like Gato is a lot more pure to like Xeon Dem Daikun's like manifesto and what Xeon was supposed to be. He's
Yeah.
like and this is why he's essentially the Char clone of this particular series. Almost every Gundam series you'll have essentially a new Char that
Yeah.
they try to create.
Yeah.
And he is that because the rest of Xeon right now, they've been defeated, right? A lot
Yeah.
of them want to run into hiding into the colonies. A lot of them don't want to fight.
Yeah.
And then there's some that are just like colony drop. Just fucking colony drop.
It sounds like
it's-
they're just hell bent on revenge. They're just like, we gotta come back.
But
we gotta get it back.
more importantly, they're fragmented.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
there is no real leading force.
For sure.
So Gato's got his manifesto in his head.
Yeah.
And that is Operation Stardust.
Totally. Yeah. Exactly.
And that is it.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
doesn't, if anybody's not down with Operation Stardust, he doesn't
Yeah.
want to fucking hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair.
You know?
It's also weird too, and again, another reason why he kind of doesn't fit in and strikes me as odd is that like, how did he, when he was a double agent and like pretending to be an Earth Federation guy, how did he end up falling in love with one of them?
Okay, so they
Like,
don't
how does
re-
that come around? You know what I mean? If you're a Xeon guy.
So this is my
I'll
gripe.
I'll
this
tell
is,
you.
Yeah, this
But
is
go
my
ahead.
gripe. Yeah, so before, during the 3 years of of peace, I guess. They were both on the lunar planet.
Yeah.
Right? And then they met there.
The moon, you mean?
The moon. Whatever.
The lunar planet. The moon?
The lunar star base, whatever. You know what I fucking mean.
Yeah, it's Von Braun is the name of the base.
Well, you know what? Fuck you guys. I'm tired.
You're good, man.
But yeah, they pretty much fell in love there. Well, more so Nina fell in love with Gato.
Yeah.
And then Gato kind of ghosted her, right? Because he knew what he was going to do eventually. And this is my one gripe where I wish they kind of went into that a little bit more and fleshed it out in the series. Probably
It came in late.
This is what I'm
Real
saying.
late.
Yeah.
It came in at the second half of the series with the second director.
Well into it too, I want to say.
Yeah, like because it just kind of came out of nowhere where
Yeah.
Nina comes out when they're fighting in the fucking space, and you know she's like Gato, and like what? Like how does Nina know this guy, right? Like where if they dropped hints at the beginning and kind of fleshed it out a little bit more, then it would have felt more natural than so much forced. You know what I mean? But
Jay
like,
knows things.
So the thing, Anaheim Electronics, okay, is the name of the company
Yeah.
that builds the Gundams, basically.
Then
They're
Nina works
basically-
for them. Nina works for
Nina works for them. That is literally who she's working for exclusively.
Yeah.
Anaheim Electronics supplies mobile suits and weapons to both sides of the war.
Yeah, that's also
They
true.
always have.
Yeah.
Since the very beginning, they were providing the mobile suits to fucking Xeon and to the Earth Federation at the same time. They did not discriminate. They just took the fucking money.
Weird.
And
like
they-
that's a reflection of real life or something.
and they ran shady deals.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of just nastiness with it, right?
Well, you see that with Seema too.
So
in
she,
this.
she has less of an
Exactly.
allegiance to Earth Federation, is what you're saying, than it seems.
Absolutely, she has allegiance to Anaheim Electronics
And the Gundams.
That is it, and the
I see.
Gundam projects that she's working on.
That makes a lot more sense.
That is 100% it, and because of that, she absolutely would have had close connections and close ties with Xeon soldiers who would have been probably testing and piloting her mobile suits the same way that Ku is for the Fetties, right?
So, question though, when he was pretending to be a Fetty before he split with the Gundam, did she know?
So I watched that scene and I wondered how close they were as he's getting into the GPO2 because she sees him and she yells and she's like, "Hey, stop!" But I'm just thinking that the distance that they were from each
Couldn't
other,
see who it was,
Yeah.
maybe.
it was probably just too hard to see. Like,
Yeah.
oh, that's Gato. That's the guy I used to have a thing for.
Oh, so
that
you're
probably
saying she-
wouldn't have gone in her head.
You're saying
No.
you don't think she had a thing with him on that ship at that time? That was like a previous
Yeah,
thing
that-
from
yeah.
way before.
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Like they must have known each other in the years previous.
I get
Probably
you.
when Nina was doing some sort of Anaheim project or
Double
meeting with
80
Xeon.
Yeah, 0081 or 82, right? Like it
Who
wouldn't have
knows,
been
right?
So that's a very
Yeah.
confusing thing to it not having known that. That was all lost on me.
But that's
For
the
sure.
thing; it doesn't come out until much later. But I also think that for that moment, Gato wearing the Fetty uniform, she would have no reason to think that was Gato.
Gato,
Yeah,
exactly.
true, fair enough.
Right? Like,
yeah.
For sure.
yeah,
I
it's-
just assumed that she didn't know him as a Xeon guy. She knew him as an Earth Federation guy.
No.
Was in love with him,
He
and then
was
he did.
never a Earth Federation.
But he was
guy.
pretending to be one, is what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
No, he was only pretending to be one that
Like,
day
for a minute.
on the
Yeah.
base
Oh.
just to get into the base.
Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of
And
assumed
to
he was
steal
like
it.
playing a long con on
No,
that
that
one.
was
No.
truly. I'm gonna throw on this suit right now, and you're gonna smuggle me in so I can steal that Gundam,
okay.
and then I'm
Yeah.
gonna dip out.
Respect. He killed it.
Yeah, but
he
but
killed
I'm
that
gonna say,
operation.
you know, one of the central themes to all this, and unfortunately, you learn a lot more about it if you're a nerd who gets way into the mobile suit science and design and all that. Is Anaheim Electronics, man, is like such a key player in all of this, and it explains
Interesting.
so fucking much. It literally explains the Nina Gato thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it explains it poorly. I agree. And
But it
trust
does the
me.
job.
Yeah.
And trust me, I
But it
wish
does
there
the
was
job.
even one or two other things earlier in the show
Yeah.
that hinted at it maybe. Maybe that takes away from the gut punch because in my opinion it's a pretty effective what the fuck gut punch moment.
Yeah.
It's effective in that way, but I agree it's not as backed up as I wish that it was.
Without backing it up, it just felt a little like, after the fact.
Yeah.
A little
Well, that's what I'm
haphazard,
saying,
Yeah.
right? Like now they're trying to put in too much within 6 episodes or 7
It's tough.
episodes because now they want to make it less of a slow burn and more action and like intricate.
They got to get you there.
Yeah.
They only have so much time left. They
Yeah,
got to get
right?
there.
Exactly.
OVA, man.
OVA.
They gave them a few episodes.
Yeah.
So figure it out.
All right.
But yeah, this is also the reason why I like Gato is because you know how you're saying there always has to be an Amuro and a Char like version
Yeah.
in any Gundam. You see more of the Amuro in Ku, but I don't see Char in Gato. Because Gato isn't like that kind of snarky hotshot like Char. Like Char has a bit more charisma in that sense, where Gato is much more like straight and narrow.
I kind of agree.
Yeah,
I see how
he's not
in a
exactly Char, but
I see how
he's-
from a plot point they serve the same purpose, but from a character perspective, you're right.
Yeah.
They're pretty different.
Well, I mean, like think of it even in Unicorn, right? You got what was it? Full
frontal.
frontal.
Is that a guy's name?
Yeah, his name's
Ew.
Full Frontal.
They're so good at names.
Yeah, but his fucking suit is wicked cool.
Big old dick hanging out.
Yeah,
dude.
Full frontal.
full front. But like he has very much so that Char vibe, right? Like
But full frontal was literally scientifically a clone of Char Aznable.
they was wait. Yeah, yes.
So here's the
we
thing.
We also can talk about the fact that he wasn't. Not just a clone. Remember, there's nurture versus nature, right? And sure, some of it could have been
Are we
nature.
talking about the nature of cloning now?
So let me get us back on track here.
Yeah.
Gato, in his approach, is not very Char-like. I definitely agree. But he is the antagonist in a Gundam series. He has white, I guess, you could argue maybe blondish colored hair. And he is a devout follower of Zeon Dem Daikun's original view and plan for what Zeon should be.
I mean,
Yeah, but
at the
Char
very
wasn't
end,
though.
Char absolutely was. The Zombies were the ones that had twisted Zeon away from the originator of Zeon, the actual guy named Zeon.
You're talking about the original Zeon.
I'm talking about Char's understanding of what Zeon was meant to be.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Gato
from
is
the origin.
Gato
yeah.
is the same, has the same mentality about what Zeon needs to be.
Yeah.
And so from that, their overall manifesto in their brain is very similar.
Same drive. They're driven by the same.
But how they drive and how they do things, their style is completely different.
I mean, at the very end of the day, the formula is still Amuro and Char.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know
so
what I
it's
mean?
just a
Even-
different kind of Char
Exactly.
we're getting,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I actually like that because I don't want
Amuro and Char.
one for one note of Char. I want
Yeah.
a different take on Char, but still make it feel like Char.
Yeah. You
And
don't
I
want-
think Gato several times definitely does give me like Char vibes, especially when he's going up against
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amuro
You don't want
2.0.
like 3 new movies of Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader.
We've been over that.
We've been over there.
I don't.
You don't want that again.
No.
Okay, let's get into the plot of this show.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Yes.
Fuck yeah.
And please jump in and correct me if I've said something wrong or missed something because
We will.
I guarantee you I've done that. So
Yeah.
We'll
we'll
get
see
through
what
it.
happens. Okay, so we kind of covered the beginning a lot. We're after the 1 year war. Zeon's all kind of split up. We meet Ku and Keith and they're training together. We get that cool little scene like you talked about.
Hey, Top Gun, baby.
We meet Nina, who is in charge of the Gundams, and immediately one of the suits is stolen by a rogue Zeon soldier out of nowhere.
After a nuclear bomb
Yeah.
has just been
Yeah,
loaded
yeah.
moments before.
It's wild.
Yeah, the timing is
Immediately,
crazy.
Yeah. And immediately after that, despite being not trained or authorized, Ku just like takes it upon himself to hop in the other Gundam and go after him.
type.
Immediately, exactly. Yeah.
Totally.
And everyone's yelling like, "No, stop!" And he's like, "No, I'm going anyways."
Yeah.
And then
There's no time for me to get to another Gundam.
Exactly. I forgot lightsabers, and I forgot completely. And in that moment, I was like, "Oh yeah." And we get a big old battle scene out in space with suits and ships. It's a whole fucking thing. It explodes into action this show right away, which was fucking awesome. Nina and everyone else, the immediate concern is not about that the suit got stolen. It's that they're going to lose both Gundam suits. They really are concerned about the technology and the equipment here, which is interesting. Apparently, there aren't that many, and they're expensive.
Yeah.
Which
Well,
makes sense.
yeah.
They're one of a kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's 2 of them as far as we know right now.
Yeah.
That's it, right?
And one has a literal nuke in it.
Yeah, and it's the one that might be gone forever. Okay, so the Zeon soldier, who we know is what's his fucking name?
Gato.
Yeah, Gato. Slipped my mind. He ends up like kind of sneaking away, and the whole crew is out in suits now looking for him. Ku's still in the Gundam, and there's this weird like dark red suit. It's like a stealth suit. Which one's that one?
Dark red suit?
He's got like a face thing, and it's like dark red.
Oh, no, you're talking about the... it's not dark red, it's purple.
Is it purple?
Yeah, it's purple and black, and it's the...
it like sneaks up on them when they're trying to look for him.
Oh, the Dom, the Rick Dom.
I don't know.
Is it the purple one with the red cross face?
Oh, okay, that's where the red
yeah,
is.
the Dom.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, the mono eye.
Yeah, the Dom.
exactly.
Yeah, that's a Dom. They kind of
That's a
like
cool
hover.
suit.
Yeah.
It's sneaky. It's like stealthy.
Yeah.
Who's driving that one? Do we even know?
Probably like Xeon.
Yeah,
guys.
Like, but we don't know who, right? It's not someone we know.
It's a grunt.
It's a cool one. I like that suit. We got a bunch of like suit to suit combat, like hand to hand style, which is always fucking cool. They animate them in a way that doesn't really look like they could have just animated them like human with human joints, but they animate them with robot joints, right? Like sometimes they're stiff and gliding, and when they move their limbs, it looks like a robot.
Yeah.
It's cool.
The one thing that was kind of weird to me too, though, when I first watched this was having Zaku's on the Fetty side.
That threw me off too, to be honest with you.
At the beginning, yeah.
But hey, it's all
But
Anaheim.
it is, it's all
the end of
fucking
the day.
Anaheim, yeah.
Well, it's all Anaheim, but also like think about like reclamation after war, right?
Totally. Yeah,
Like,
that makes sense.
They're going to
That
be
makes sense.
reclaiming a lot of suits and especially using them in testing.
Yeah, for sure. Especially it's not like there's that many Gundams. We just
or
established that,
mobile
right?
suits.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the end, the Zeon soldiers do get away with the Gundam. They aren't able to reclaim it in this scene. After these battle scenes, there's like a bunch of scenes of destruction, and Mikey, like you said, there's like Gundams like embedded in buildings and injured soldiers hanging around. There's definitely that like wartime vibe. They're really putting you into it, right? Someone died. I don't remember who it is. It's early to know who or care about who, but Ku cared about them. And he goes to their apartment and he's like seriously blaming himself about that this person died. He has an emotional moment. It motivates him. And while this is happening, Nina like walks by and sees him kind of crying. And a bunch of dudes are like picking on him and she like defends him.
Yeah, well, it was a big moment for Ku and Keith.
Yeah.
Right? Because as like green as they are, right? Like actually having to experience real battle, real war.
Yeah.
Right? Like it shakes your foundation,
Absolutely.
right? Especially if you've just been testing things for a while and training.
They haven't
right?
seen action yet.
Right? And someone who's supposed to be part of your team is now gone.
Yeah.
Right, and then you have Burning, who's just like, snap out of it. We still have a mission, right?
Yeah.
Like he's seasoned, he's a vet, so fucking he's all hijacked, right?
Yeah.
So
Well,
that makes sense.
And it's good parallels too, because like this is literally like Amuro and like Bright Noah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the Bright slap. You know what I mean? Except Burning doesn't slap Ku here, right?
No.
But it's like, you know, it's shades of that for sure.
Yeah.
You always need the Gundam protagonist to have like that breakdown moment of the realization of the seriousness of war and the loss of life. Like it always has to hit them at some point.
Yeah. And there's a couple moments where he has to get like snapped out of it and like shown the reality by Lieutenant Burning, because there's a moment right after this where Mancha's being a piece of shit and they're like, let's duel.
Yeah.
And they have a whole duel. And then out of nowhere, Lieutenant Burning comes in and is like, guys, what the fuck are you doing? This is a war. Stop being assholes. And shuts it down and chews them both out. And they both end up in solitary confinement for a week because of it.
Both in the brig.
Which is kind of hilarious. One thing I
Well,
noticed.
because they lied about it too, right?
Yeah. The whole thing is them being idiots and Burning calling them out for it.
Yeah.
And they get on.
Top Gun.
Exactly. Yeah. One thing I noticed about this scene, which is worth mentioning because it was just fucking cool, is during the duel, there's a scene where the Gundam is like walking. And it's the sound of a Gundam walking. There's no stealth when a Gundam is walking.
Yeah.
It's boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
And like as a viewer, I was like, oh, I never thought about that. You know what I mean? I never thought about the sound it would make when it's walking.
Yeah, there's
How
no
loud
way
it would
to
be.
silence a 40-foot tall
Footsteps,
robot.
yeah. It just is what it is.
Much bigger than that.
Yeah.
Well, these ones are probably around 40.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you think so?
Yeah. GPO 1.
They're pretty.
I'll tell you.
Nerd. Okay, so they assume
It's important, man, because scaling is important, especially for Gunpla.
Yeah.
You wouldn't understand.
I don't. So why are you telling me?
59 feet. So
Okay.
I was close.
Big old footsteps, anyways.
I said 40.
That's 20 feet more.
Yeah, that's not way bigger.
It's pretty big.
Okay, so
Okay, Mister didn't give a number.
the exactly 59-foot stolen Gundam. They assume the Gundam is on Earth, so that we all go down there to look on it. They talk about Earth being too expressive to find it. They're like, oh, the landscapes, and they talk about heat shimmers in Africa. It's just interesting how they're comparing what it would be like on a colony to what it would be like on Earth, right? It's much more of a terrain that they have to deal with.
Yeah, well, everything in colonies are all automated and
flat,
flat
or round,
and,
I
like,
should say.
Well, and controlled,
Yeah.
so you can control
Yeah.
the heat waves.
Exactly.
Right? You can't do
Africa
that.
is just hot,
Yeah.
and they can't deal with it.
It's
Yeah.
hot.
Yeah.
Hot as hell.
It's so hot I can't even see. Okay, so there was another Xeon spy on board with these guys, and he flees out of nowhere. And nobody seems too concerned at first. And right away, you're like, oh, well, they're going to track him. And then also right away, if you're smart, you're like, well, they're going to kill him.
Yeah.
There's no way they're going to let him come back now. They know, and that's what happens when he's dead.
Yep.
So that's the end of that.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
You get another ground battle here, I think, with some suit-to-suit combat, and this is one of many speeches from Gato about the strength and integrity of Xeon. He's always kind of like lecturing and giving speeches, I guess, which is kind of cool. Again, they do not reclaim the Gundam, as they're trying to do continuously. Purpleton, with the silliest name, I don't like saying it. Purpleton.
Call her Nina.
Purpleton. And Ku, they're like getting along more and more as he becomes the Gundam pilot kind of for good. Everyone kind of just accepted, like, well, I guess you fly that thing now, which is kind of weird because he's a nobody, but at the same time, like, he proved himself, I guess. It's not really how the military works, but
No, well, I mean, it's the fact that like he was able to bring out everything in the Gundam with the data, and the data shows it, and Nina's like, look at the data.
the data.
The data.
As they're getting along, it's like a lot of innuendos and like shots of her butt while she's like working on gear.
Yeah.
It's very cutely awkward and like sexually tense. Which is very odd. She tells him in this moment that the Gundam's not ready for space flight yet. And I was like, oh yeah, I guess it hasn't really been flown in space yet. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
But it's different in space rather versus like in a colony or on Earth, right?
Yeah.
We find out that the Xeon base is in like some space wreckage, and we meet the villainess. I'm going to call her Snake Bitch.
Seema.
Snake Bitch.
Yeah.
And she's like super evil. Like she's like an evil bitch. And
You can tell by her
immediately,
character.
also you can tell because Gato is shook by it. He's the bad guy.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know about this.
You know what I think a big red flag for her is, and like usually when you can see villains like this archetype, it's always the pettiness.
Yeah.
Right? Like where her ego is always bruised.
The cackle is how you can tell they're crazy. She has a cackle, dude.
Yeah.
She does have a cackle.
Okay, so Xeon then attacks. And there's another great speech, but this time it's from like the commander or whatever. And he basically explained, he's like, the treaty that Xeon signed, that those are false Xeon. That wasn't Xeon. We are Xeon and we're coming after you. And I'm like, okay, so these are radicals, basically, is what's going on here. Ku takes Unit 1 out into space. Is it Unit 1? I don't know. He takes his Gundam out into space. Despite it not being ready, and it's not going well for him. He's getting kind of destroyed. Lieutenant Burning ends up like busting his cast off because he got injured previously, and he gets in his suit and runs in to save the day. It's another crazy battle.
Yeah, but I think you're missing an important part of
Probably.
of the
Please fill in my blanks.
character development, because Ku was trying to find all the calculations and they were going wrong.
Yeah.
Right? And because he thought he had the right calculations, he was like, you know what? I'm not going to get into the GM Gundam, which is the general model.
Right.
That everybody keeps telling him to get into. He's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go back into the Gundam with my calculations. And right before that, she had a big blow up with Nina.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which never gets addressed later, which I was pissed off about.
Well, they always have that conflict about the Gundam between the two of them,
They
right?
never agree, yeah.
Yeah, but it's not only just that, like, but even for a relationship, you're never just gonna talk about how you treated me in front of everybody else, like telling me I'm just a baby, and then now
The
you
emotional intelligence of like a 20-year-old, I
What
guess.
I will say
Yeah,
is
I
later
guess
on, that kind of dynamic gets cute. They like tease each other about it, right?
Yeah, I guess
she chirps him about the carrots. You baby, go eat some carrots.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, okay, take care of my Gundam. You know what I mean? So they do kind of address it. They do kind of like fall into a comfortable place with it.
Yeah,
Not in a healthy way.
Top
But
Gun.
Top Gun, yeah.
It's Top Gun.
Yeah, it is.
Top
You're
Gun
right.
again.
100%.
But yeah,
It's Top Gun again.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, and then like Nina had the calculations.
Yeah.
And just didn't give it to him. That's why he got all fucked up.
Yeah, he did. He got fucking injured. And what's crazy is when they get back, Nina goes to him and not to the suit, which I thought was an interesting moment for her
Definitely.
because you would, up till now, you were like, oh, she's a suit person, not a
100%,
coup
dude.
person, right?
100%.
And at the end of this battle, we get a big, like, loudly pronounced Sig Zeon, and I was like, there it is.
There it
There
is.
it is.
There it is. All right. Let's not talk about my Tokyo Revengers phone case for a minute.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so after the battles, the team gets like a shore leave on Luna, the moon, Mikey. And this is like while the
lunar
Gundams,
planet.
yeah,
The lunar
the
planet.
moon, the lunar planet.
Yeah, lunar planet.
So the Gundams kind of being
lunar planet sounds fucking better, okay?
you can die on that hill
I will
till
die
the
on
day
that
you
fucking
die on
hill.
that hill.
Die on that
Yeah.
lunar hill.
Yeah. Okay, so the Gundam's being repaired. They get shore leave on Luna. Ku's all fucked up about everything. There's war, battles. He ruined the Gundam. He's confused about Nina. His friend died. A lot of shit's going on in his head. He ends up getting his ass kicked.
Yeah, he's wandering aimlessly.
Yeah.
Like it's the precursor to every ass whooping by strangers to ever
Everything
exist.
except I don't think he's drunk. You would picture.
You're right.
Yeah, he's not drunk.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
otherwise, same.
Yeah.
So, and he wakes up in a junkyard because this guy saved him. This guy's
right.
like a tough dude, but he's like got a really nice house in the middle of this junkyard.
You know what? I think the reason why he didn't get drunk also is just because he was and letting these people beat him up was a bit of self harm.
Oh yeah, he's
Like a lot of
I think he
like-
just has no energy. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know
Yeah.
what to do with his life. He's lost for a minute there. So he gets saved by this guy in the junkyard,
Kelly.
and he finds out
Yeah.
that Kelly is rebuilding this old suit from the 1 year war, right?
Yeah, it's actually technically. I'm gonna get weird and nerdy on you. It's technically a mobile armor.
Yeah, right. Because
not a
it's not
mobile
a suit. It's more like a ship.
It's kind of like a tank ship
Yeah,
type
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, he kind of tells Ku, he's like kind of funny with Ku the way they talk. He's like, "Oh, you're a deserter now," and he's like, "No." He's like, "I mean, like, are you with your team?"
Yeah.
He's like, "No."
He's busting his balls
You're a
hard.
deserter. Which is kind of crazy. And then we find out that Kelly's building it for Xeon. He's selling it to Xeon.
Yeah.
And Ku's like not as angry about this as you'd think he would be. He leaves, but then he comes back and he like helps him build it. And they get like literally like a Hall & Oates worthy montage of them building the thing together. Yeah.
Flame that burns the candle.
Yeah. It's exactly that. Very, very, very funny.
Yeah.
But odd that he just does that. And I get that he's fucked up and confused in life, but like it's a strange decision to make.
I feel like that whole arc, that little mini arc, could have been taken out. I don't think he really needed a lot of that. I think if he like found this guy who just like pulled him out, it's that same trope, right? Like lost, don't know what I'm doing with my life. I fucked up as a pilot. I need somebody who used to be a pilot. Tell me what it is, and then I'm going to go back and be a better pilot.
I mean, that is what that little arc served.
Yeah.
You're 100% right.
Right?
Absolutely.
That's what it did.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
They could have done that quicker
Yeah, that's what I think.
without
that's what I'm trying to-
investing so much time in a character
Yeah.
and a suit.
So much time though.
Not really. It does come back, right?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Because they used the mobile armor, but
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
I don't
right.
know. Anyway.
Interesting.
Or that arc should have happened earlier.
Maybe.
Maybe. Anyway.
That arc starts on the last episode the first director did, and ends on the first. Or sorry, starts on the last episode the first director did, and ends on the first episode the second director did. So six
Weird.
and seven.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay, so that's probably
So the
why I
first
felt
half
the
handled
awkwardness.
it.
Little
Yeah.
janky.
And then the next half, you actually see like the battle in space.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he actually uses it and stuff.
In the second half, too, we're getting ahead of ourselves. We'll get there.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, so Ku ends up back with his crew now, and there's a massive chunk of an episode just about him asking Nina out on a date. Like a whole half an episode or more, maybe, and he sucks at it.
Yeah, so dense. Didn't
Yeah.
even get to use his fucking tickets.
He's an idiot. Anyways, that was.
Keith tries to help.
Yeah.
I mean, not well.
He
doesn't really. He
tries.
doesn't really try to help. He just goes, "You got to do it."
No, he gives him movie tickets.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
movie tickets, gives
Yeah.
him some motivation,
Yeah.
tells him.
They end up just getting angry at each other. Like Nina ends up just she sees the tickets.
Yeah.
And he doesn't ask her to the movies.
Yeah.
And she just gets mad and storms off.
Yeah.
That's how that ends. Anyways, we find out this is where we get back with Kelly. So we find out that he instead of selling the suit to Zeon, he's going to steal it because the guy he sells it to disrespects him, right?
Well, basically, he finds out that they don't want him
To pilot
use
it. And they're like, we don't want some shitty old pilot.
Yeah.
I'm going to pilot it. And he gets mad. So he's okay, I'm going to steal it, destroy the Gundam, and restore my honor.
Well, the whole idea for Kelly, though, was that he was building it to be able to pilot with one hand.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
So he
okay.
modified it so he could pilot it.
I get you.
And he was under the impression that he was going to be back in the fight.
Yeah.
Right. And then when he got paid, the dude's like, "Oh yeah, you're not piloting this."
Yeah, no, you're an idiot. You're old, and we don't want old people.
Yeah, but he thinks if he can go out and, like you said, destroy the Gundam, then the Delaz fleet will take him back with open arms, and he'll be back.
Exactly.
His old
And so
standing.
his suit is a bit like OP up to this point. Like it's strong, you know what I mean? But again, more like a ship. And then Ku and Kelly, they're having this like connecting and respecting conversation during the battle. They're like, it's like kind of like a father-son situation, like a son fighting his father.
Ultimate
Anyways,
punch.
yeah. Pretty much. At some point in this battle, Nina gets hit, like she gets involved and she gets hit, and she's saved by Ku, who then, in saving her, finally ends up with the courage to ask her out, which was a big ew moment for me. It's so gross, man. But they do get this last iconic scene of they're hugging on the Gundam on the moon, and it's one of those keyframes that was awesome. Okay, so yeah, we got that cute scene, like I told you, with the carrots. They're bonding over the Gundam. They're finally finding their way to talk about it. You know what I mean? That, by the way, that plate of carrots is enormous.
Yeah,
There's
nobody.
way too many carrots on that plate.
Yeah, you don't need that many carrots to try to learn how to like carrots.
Like one. Start with one. Yeah. Anyways, I find that the like relationship arc was like removing me from what was good about this show. I understand you needed to have their relationship, but the way they were approaching it, I was like, I'm not vibing with the way this is going down.
No.
Personally.
I didn't mind that it was there. I just didn't think it was handled with the same kind of grace or care as all of the military strategic stuff was.
Agreed. It felt clunky compared to everything else.
It felt a little childish and a little juvenile, and I know that it was kind of supposed to, I think, bring that balance and that levity and fun. But to me, it just felt a little tonally off.
I agree.
Yeah, not my favorite part.
Okay. Okay, there's another battle, and after this battle, Lieutenant Burning, please fill in holes if I'm missing holes, but there's Lieutenant Burning gets some like info regarding the Zeon base and Gato and Unit 2, and he's like reading it, not over the comm, he's reading it to himself. He's like, oh my God, it's and suddenly his suit just explodes.
Yeah, so
from damage sustained.
Yeah, exactly. So he sees the Zeon officer with the handcuffs to the suitcase.
Yeah.
That's where he gets the information.
Okay.
Right. And that's because they were in the midst of a battle.
That's it, right.
Yeah.
So, and he's dead.
Kaboom. Kaboom.
Big old dead.
Yeah.
Trauma.
And like, what a name for people to scream in agony. Lieutenant Burning! It was like, he is burning in flames. So
and they tried to reach him, and it's because his suit goes so far into space, it's just a little blip.
Yeah. And then it pops out. Very funny. Such a funny death. After it, everyone's mourning, which I get because he was nice to everyone, highly respected. And then Ku gets promoted, but that kind of fucks him up even more. And Mancha's like raging out about it. He like is beating the shit out of this prisoner they have, and it's like this weird scene. Everyone's acting weird.
Everybody's on edge, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it was like when they were trying to search for Gato when they were in Africa. It's been weeks. So everybody's on edge.
The whole show is like that.
Yeah.
Not to mention the whole show is a lot of Ku versus Gato one-on-one fights. There's like 6 of them, 7 of them maybe.
Later on, but if there's a big stretch in there for like 5 or 6 episodes where there's nothing, and I'm like, where's my Ku and
we're at the end of it. We're getting to the Ku and Gato part now.
Yeah.
So they fight. Gato he's going to fire on this island. It's like a highly populated island. Everyone realizes suddenly what's happening, and they're freaking out about it, trying to stop him. They can't stop him. He blasts it, and that explosion is wild. Like, the animation on that was nuts.
Yeah,
crazy. There's ships being like incinerated, and at this time we were all wondering, is this Project Stardust? And as we're wondering it, they're also wondering it. It's not. We'll find that out shortly. And then, so Ku and Gato are still going at it. They're trying to reason with each other, again, trying to convince each other of each other's opinions. And they get out of their Gundams, and both suits are destroyed.
Yeah.
Both suits are destroyed.
But like, not to mention, this is also when Gato fucking drops the nuke and wipes out 2/3 of the Fedi army.
Yeah, the fleet is just fucking gone.
And the Gundams.
That's right. Like 2/3 of a fucking fleet that outnumbers this radical Zeon little mini army.
Yeah.
Even 1/3 of that. The Fedi army still outnumbers the Zeon army. Like that's a lot of fucking.
It takes one nuke.
Yeah.
It takes one nuke.
It took one nuke. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I mean, really just demonstrates, why they were so afraid and why they were so stressed about that thing going. Because I mean, especially when like the technology in something like this is so far advanced beyond what we can kind of comprehend or understand. Like, how much is a nuke really worth in a time when there's space destroyers and giant space lasers and colony lasers? Like, what does a nuke really mean?
Yeah.
Clearly, it still means a fuck of a lot.
Yeah.
Like a nuke's still a nuke.
Yeah.
Even in UC 83.
Still, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's wild.
But this is, I think, this like from episode 7 or 8 is when I really started watching this at the edge of my seat.
I agree.
Yeah,
rest
it
of the
flies
agree.
from this point.
Yeah.
Well, because right after this moment, you find out there's a third unit.
Yeah.
Right? And when you see it, it's dark and the lights go on.
Yeah.
Such
And they
a
light it
sick
up.
reveal, dude.
It's unreal, dude.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love that.
Yeah.
See, I was a little disappointed with that because the Unit 3, just the main mobile suit, was so close to Unit 1 as far as design goes.
Yeah.
That I was like, I was really hoping for more, but it was later when they're like, was it Mora? It was just like, is this even really a Gundam? And then it launches with the
That
whole accessories
launch unit thing.
Yeah. And
Drobium.
then I was like, oh, yes.
See, I actually
This is
didn't
not a
like
Gundam.
that unit. I was like, oh, it ruins how cool it looked. Now
It's,
it looks.
it's a choice.
I didn't like
it
it.
is a choice.
There was a scene where he's like reaching out of it and like swinging his lightsaber around out of it, and I was like, okay.
yeah.
But we got to remember, up to that point, you didn't really see anything like that,
It's true.
right?
Yeah, that totally is very, very unique take for sure. And I mean, so I like with the designs of them and stuff, like I've built all of the GPs like in like Gunpla format. It almost kind of takes looking at them for that long and like that closely and in that much detail to
notice the
really
difference.
pick up on like the changes and the subtle differences. I've also drawn them like
Yeah.
so many fucking times now,
You're
right?
deep
That
into it.
It's like the detail to me, like they look very different
Yeah.
to me.
See, I kind of. Sorry, go ahead.
But like I think to your average person, yeah, it's gonna kind of just look like maybe a slightly fancied up version of
you calling
that,
Mikey an average
of
person?
that. No, like sorry, somebody not as obsessed with these particular mobile suits as I
Yeah.
would probably just think it's like a fancier, nicer version of that original suit, which I think is also partially the point. You
Yeah, I
want
like that.
You want it to feel like that original suit is getting upgraded as opposed to it was destroyed and this is a new one now.
Yeah.
Like you want to feel like it's still your hero suit
Yeah.
in there.
Totally.
But then the Dendrobium is the name of the turtle shell of
blocky
of
box
rockets,
it sits in.
basically,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that design of that thing is not my favorite. It's a giant
Box.
It's a house,
Yeah.
basically,
Yeah.
that they
Yeah.
put on top of this thing.
He sticks out the
But-
front of it just with his shoulders.
Yeah, but what I will say is the
Yeah.
uniqueness is there.
Yeah,
Like
sure.
you've never seen anything like that, and then it really elevates the Gundam to essentially a mobile armor
Yeah.
at
Yeah,
that point, which
for
is
sure.
obviously required after you see what Gato.
Yeah,
Totally.
Gato's
Is,
mobile
you
armor
You
is
knew they
fucking
needed
crazy.
some upgrade. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you look at Gato's mobile armor and you see how it is scaled next to a fucking destroyer ship, where it's
Yeah.
like it takes up the entire fucking,
Yeah.
I guess helm, the podium, or
Yeah.
not, I don't know what you call it, right? Like
Yeah.
the cockpit with like
The tower part, yeah.
tower part
Yeah.
of the destroyers, right?
Yeah.
Like it takes up that whole space.
It's big.
right?
It's
It's,
a big
fucking
boy.
huge.
It's
Yeah.
a beefy boy.
Yeah, it's a beefy boy. I love
like
a
it.
good beefy boy.
I know you do.
That's the new Zeal. That's the
Yeah.
name of that one.
That's a better name than what did you call the other one?
The Dendrobium.
That's a horrible name. Gundam's so good at names. Okay, so let's get back to it. Zeon, we find out that Zeon attacked a colony, but it didn't really like try to blow it up, and they're kind of confused why. And they find out it blew off like what they're calling a mirror, which I think
Yeah.
is like a navigational, like a stabilizing element.
Yeah.
And they find out really quickly that that's going to cause it to collide with another colony and then plummet them both down to the surface of the planet, the lunar planet.
The lunar planet. Yes.
Double colony drop.
Double colony drop.
On
They
the
love
lunar
their colony
planet.
drops.
Yeah.
Snake bitch loves it. She's cackling her brains out. She's a pirate.
Yeah,
And a literal pirate
she
ship.
is actually, that's a great way to describe her. She is a pirate because she double crosses and gets,
and
then fucking,
That's how she gets her suit.
I think her
That's how she
steering
gets her
wheel
suit.
is a literal pirate ship steering wheel, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong about that, but I think I remember that.
But yeah, she's just betraying everybody she comes across at every opportunity she can.
I think she kind of just wants to blow shit up. She just
And
wants to
then,
cause havoc.
well, she ends up getting her final mobile suit there, the reddish, orangish, pinkish one.
It doesn't go good for her though.
Yeah, but that's the Gerbera Tetra mobile suit.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing about that is that was literally stolen from Anaheim Electronics.
Yeah.
That design was supposed to be a Gundam.
Okay.
Called the GP04 Gerbera. And there are actually model kits and like full designs of
what it
that
would have
model
been.
suit with the Gundam head and
cool.
what it was originally supposed to look like.
Yeah.
And then she stole it.
Yeah.
And Xeon took it basically and had the Xeon engineers put the mono eye on, make it more Xeon-esque.
Yeah.
And thus the Gerbera Tetra was born. And that's one of the most, famous villain suits out of the UC, I would say.
Interesting.
One of I think the best designed, best looking villain suits that there
Interesting.
are.
I would agree.
Thing looks like a fucking Ferrari.
It does look sleek.
Yeah.
And the red.
Yeah.
is
But anyway,
clean.
Seema's fucking sick. I like Seema.
All right.
She's a cool character.
But this is what I'm saying, right? Like, you always have to have a red suit,
dude.
right? Like, you have to.
I know the
Yeah.
fact that Gato doesn't pilot a red suit is surprising.
That's when I...
Detracts from the charness, I guess.
Yeah, right? And then that's what I was thinking when I first saw, like, really, he's going to fight in that? Like, I love it.
Yeah.
But, like, this is deferring from the formula.
Well, actually, the big green mobile armor is in line with a lot of the Xeon stuff we had seen
Yeah.
before.
It's
you know what I mean?
round. It's
Yeah.
like kind of goofy.
And then there's like the Big Zam was one of the OG mobile suit the mobile suit Gundam like 1979 had the Big Zam, which was kind of like a mobile armor that was green.
Yeah.
So the New Zeal's kind of like a callback to that.
okay.
And then there's other UC stuff you'll see that continues the
There's
the
one
trend
that's
of
one of my favorites.
the Kshatriya is
The bell pepper.
Yeah, big. It looks like a big bell pepper, basically.
sick.
yeah.
I fucking love it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Pretty
then
cool.
there's also the Quinn Mantha as well, which is in Double Zeta. Which is There's a lot of really cool ones.
Happy birthday to you. Jay's having a really good time, everybody.
I'm having a great time.
I know you are. I'm having a good time too. Okay,
good.
so Ku decides to go out in Unit 3 even though it's not ready, which is a theme.
Classic.
He keeps getting them when they're not ready. And this is because Gato shows up in his wild armor, like we were just talking about. It kind of looks like a flower or an insect or something. It's like an interesting shape. And Nina's rattled, of course, because Ku gets in yet another one of her Gundams before it's ready. She's not happy about it. And even the officers don't want Ku taking it, and they literally are shooting at him as he's getting into it. And one of the new tech girls like just gets in the way and gets shot dead, which was wild.
Yeah.
Because that's like Earth Federation inside fighting, which you don't see. They're a cohesive unit up until now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. I've always kind of knew how shitty both sides are, right? There's always some sort of infighting.
Yeah.
But Jordy wouldn't.
I don't know.
With what he's
in this
seen,
show, I haven't seen. That's the first time I've seen it in this show.
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
because this is where it starts.
Yeah.
This is where the Earth Federation starts
Yeah.
to fucking lose their
Was there a
way.
little bit of that in the War in the Pocket? A little bit of that as well too.
There was a little bit of that in War in the Pocket. There was
Maybe not. I can't remember.
I didn't feel that really.
in
Anyway.
It's just Xeon versus
Fetties. All right.
straight up.
same with Char, I guess. In
Yeah.
Char's counterattack. It was,
This is really the start because this is when you're starting to see that there are holes in their systems.
Yeah.
And that they're vulnerable. This is the
And
most vulnerable they've ever been. So much so that Jordy, you won't know this, but in other series of Gundam, they literally center around the fact that the Earth Federation gets too scared and too worried about infiltration, things being stolen right from under their nose, that they go overboard and create basically a militant unit that abuses its power and becomes like the new villains.
Oh, crazy.
Is
it's
Earth,
all internal.
and it all starts from this internal fear and strife and disagreements that they just throw a police force out there that is overkill and starts doing bad things.
Yeah.
And then they have to try and stop that. So
Okay.
but this is the origins of all of that.
And
Is
at this
starting
point,
right
like,
here.
we don't know these guys, and they're not authorized in any way to be doing what they're doing. They just see someone taking the gun, and they're like, "Nah, dude, Not happening.
Well, you also see some of the corruption a little bit before when, like, you know, they're trying to protect that one ship, and they're like, why are they shooting at Cena, right? And they're like allowing her to escape,
Yeah.
right? So a little bit of that is
You're right.
happening.
Yeah. They're falling apart a little bit here at the seams. A little bit. Shit's going down. It's
Also, that
crazy.
guy's a fucking douche.
Which guy? The guy who shoots that girl?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh,
that
yeah.
guy was a douche from the get-go,
He
man.
shot a girl.
Yeah.
For no reason at all. Anyways, she's dead. He takes it anyways. And this is where we find out. I forget who tells us. I want to say it might have been. I forget her fucking name.
Yeah, it's the girl.
Nina?
No,
No.
not Nina. It's the other,
other girl.
Mora?
AE girl.
Mora. We find. Is she the one who tells us that Nina and Gato were?
No, it was
An
the girl
item?
that died, that got
Oh.
shot. And like Nina
Okay.
goes up over
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and tries
yeah,
to like
yeah, yeah.
console her and like get her to the hospital or doctor.
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Oh, I know your fears. I know your
It was
fears."
Lucette.
Okay.
Lucette was her name.
Yeah, Lucette. And like, and I know about you and Gato.
Yeah. And I'm like, what? And so was everyone. And I was like, wow, so odd.
Yeah.
That's now. We're finding that out. Weird.
Truly. It's
Uh,
weird timing, dude.
Yeah. Anyways, Ku gets out in the Gundam. He's destroying Zeon units in the Unit 3. He's just destroying everyone. They're all retreating because he's killing so hard. And then we get another Ku and Gato one-on-one. Because we're getting that. That's the way it's happening. So the colony's headed to Earth. They're fighting. Fucking Snake Bitch kills her commander out of nowhere. Didn't see that coming. And that makes Gato even more mad. And then, so she then, after she kills him, goes after Ku and the Unit 3, and she gets fucking lanced and explodes big time.
Yeah.
Straight up stabbed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like just right in there.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And then again, once again, for some reason, Nina gets like in on the action. She like gets in a ship and goes out into space. I'm like, don't do that. Like,
Yeah, and like haphazardly
Yeah.
pilots the core.
clumsily. She's
Yeah.
not doing it well.
Well, but her thing at that moment is because she's so torn between Gato and Ku fighting.
Yeah. I
All
think
the
she thinks
time.
she can reason with one or both or all of them or something. She sees that she's a connection piece there.
Yeah, and that's her thing. Like
Yeah.
she thinks she can go and say, "Hey, you've done enough, Gato,"
Yeah.
and tries it
Cut it
out.
out.
Cut it out. Stop. And also, why did you ghost me?
Yeah.
That's exactly all that is. It's like
Yeah.
I want answers.
You stole my suit, you son of a bitch. Anyways, they all end up on the falling colony outside of Gundam suits. Nina confronts Gato.
Yeah.
They have like a weird little moment. She shoots him because she's like, stop.
Yeah.
I'll shoot you with my gun.
No. She doesn't shoot Gato.
Yeah, no.
Ko shoots Gato.
Oh,
When he comes in, right? And then
you're right.
And then she shoots.
She saves him.
Yeah,
Because
she-
he wants to kill him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And she's
She
like,
steps
no,
in.
don't do it. And
Yeah.
she shoots at Ku.
Yes.
That's how it goes down. I remember now. Okay. Yeah.
Shoots at Ku
And
then
takes Gato.
Takes Gato.
Yeah.
And then locks fucking Ku in the room.
Yeah. On the
Where-
fallen colony.
In the fallen colony,
Yeah.
right? Like I mean,
I
like
hate her now too.
yeah, she's nasty.
She's making mistakes. She's not being her best self.
Listen,
No.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely don't like her. She's 21, I think.
Yeah.
You know, ish at the time of this. She's so fucking young.
Stupid
to
face.
be doing. I know. To be doing what she's doing, and she obviously doesn't have like emotional intelligence or experience or
No.
anything. So
Yeah.
like, on one hand, it's like fuck, like poor girl, like
Yeah.
you know, doesn't know what to fucking do. Is clearly flying by the seat of her pants and just panic city.
First time seeing action.
At
People
all
are dying
times.
all around you.
At all
Yeah.
times,
Yeah.
right? So like, I feel for her, but at the same time, like I obviously can't stand what she does. You know, in these
It's not.
moments.
She didn't act well.
No, like I mean, as soon as she got into the fucking core fighter and like haphazardly, like clumsily, like tries to pilot it.
Yeah.
I was like, "You're an idiot."
As soon as
Like-
it starts
like,
wobbling,
you're an
if
idiot.
a person should be like, "Oh, I'm not good at this.
Yeah.
I should go back."
Yeah, or I should just not get in this because I
Yeah.
don't know how to pilot this fucking thing.
Yeah.
And not to mention, I'm putting everybody at risk.
Isn't it funny how she did the thing that she kept getting mad at Ku for doing?
Yeah. The irony?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm getting heated.
Yeah.
Now
So-
you understand why the internet hates her.
Yeah, I do. Okay.
You know what? I always understood. I guess when I was watching it, I was just so annoyed by her, I just brushed it off.
Yeah.
But now I'm talking about it.
Getting all riled up again.
Getting all riled up again. Yeah.
Okay, help me fill in what happens next, because somehow Ku and Gato end up with another like one-on-one fight, and the colony falls with Gato inside and not Ku and not Nina. So how does that all go down? Because she locks Ku inside and drags Gato away, right?
No, okay, so she locks Ku inside. They don't really explain how Ku got out of that room.
Okay.
Yeah.
But eventually, Nina patches Gato up. Gato punches her in the gut saying, "I'm sorry." Right?
Dips out.
Okay.
Yeah, they dip out. They put Nina in the fucking cockpit of the core fighter. They take the core fighter cockpit off of the actual body, and he's holding it in the mobile suit or the mobile armor.
Yeah, this is Ku doing this.
No, this is
Gato.
Gato
Okay.
doing this, right? And then he's there with like his other comrades.
Okay.
And then eventually you just see Ku leave the fucking colony.
Yeah.
And then they're both out in space being like, oh shit. And then that's when we see like the mirrors that they were trying to do the solar system.
Yeah.
And then that's when you kind of see, when Ku got out in his mobile suit, Gato was waiting for him outside.
Okay.
Yeah.
So does Gato die at the end of all this?
Yes.
Yes.
How does he die?
Kamikaze,
yeah.
basically. He leads the Delaz fleet to attempt like a breakthrough, and they die in the kamikaze attack.
Oh, so he just fails at the end. He dies by
Well,
failing.
Kamikaze, man.
Kamikaze.
He goes out like a G.
All right.
But like at this
And
point, he
the
already.
colonies do fall, right? And they do cause destruction.
This is my other little problem with it. But so he does accomplish what he wants to do, because originally everybody thought that they were going to drop the colony on Jaburo, right? But he
Right.
doesn't. So he puts in a different coordinates to drop in North America instead, in the wheat fields, right?
To minimize the impact?
No, to take away their food source is what they're thinking.
Fuck them. They don't need. They
Right.
don't need to eat.
But the idea of that, and like what they show at the end, like I'm jumping ahead here.
Yeah, like the epilogue section at the end.
Yeah,
there.
I'm like, you just had a colony drop on Sydney in
Yeah.
Australia, and you show this massive destruction.
Yeah.
And then in the wheat fields, you kind of have destruction
Yeah.
in little plops. Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, that should have been fucking demolished.
Well, there's a lot of wheat fields on Earth.
And
Could've been a different wheat field.
And you could
Yeah.
argue the size of the colony, and plus
Yeah.
they did fire at the colony and destroy some of it before it landed.
The impact might have been lessened.
You know, I'm just saying they could possibly explain that or talk that away,
Yeah.
but it did seem a little strange. Yeah, because the size of the crater in Sydney is obviously
Enormous.
Enormous.
incredibly huge, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so like that's basically where it ends up. But also in that, towards the end of the epilogue, that's when they announce the creation of the Titans.
Okay, I missed that completely.
Yeah, so that is the name of the force that is created to ensure
Okay.
nothing ever gets stolen again.
Okay.
And that's the force that becomes
gotcha.
bad.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
At the-
And basically Zeta and Double Zeta, those series,
It's about that.
to encompass basically is, obviously you can't rely on the Earth Federation to be the good guys anymore, and you can't rely on Xeon to be the good guys anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe there are some people out in space who are kind of somewhere in the middle,
Yeah.
and who are kind of a ragtag team
Yeah.
that can come together and, find the peace between, right?
Maybe.
That's Zeta and Double Zeta in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Is you get out of one side or the other, and you kind of
Alright.
sit in the middle.
Yeah.
And then
You
we get
know.
Char back.
Yeah,
but
Char,
not as
Char shows up and has some weird shit. And,
Sick.
yeah. Anyways,
Nice.
maybe we'll get to that one
Yeah,
day. But
We're on this right now. Yeah.
and then so we end up in Canada.
At the end, yeah.
Yeah.
He picks up wheat off the ground.
Yeah.
Oh, he gets sentenced to 1 year hard labor before he gets to be free again.
Yeah.
We skip the hard labor. He ends up back, and it's for stealing the Gundam over and over and over again. I think that's why. They're like, you did good, but like, don't steal the
Yeah.
Gundam anymore. So yeah, he picks up a thing of wheat, and he like looks up, and his friends are there, right
Driving
there.
over in the
driving
in the
over,
Jeep.
and Nina's with them. And something that made me laugh really hard was like this series of facial expressions on Nina's face right at the end when she sees him. She makes a series of very specific ones. It's surprise, doubt, and then resignation, and then happy, and then joy. Literally, bop, 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 bop. Close up right on her face, dude.
Yeah, dude.
That killed me.
Because they need to justify
yeah.
why anybody would be happy to see Nina
Yeah.
at that point in time.
Yeah.
Why she thinks she has any grounds
Yeah.
or the balls to reconcile with Ku
Yeah.
Yeah.
after this point. You need to physically watch her go through the stages of grief
Yeah.
and come back to a point where she can justify seeing Ku again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
She had to remember everything she did
You
and
need to
process
watch-
all the feelings of
Because nobody watching it is believing that Ku's going to be like, that Nina.
Yeah. Exactly. Except he for sure is.
That's exactly
That's
what he
what
does.
happens,
Yeah.
The fucking mental gymnastics that happens in that
Yeah.
scene, man.
But it just reinforces like
Yeah.
what you said at the beginning, Mikey. Like Ku's a wiener.
Yeah.
Ku is
Like
a wiener.
he's a wiener in like his spinelessness. He's
Yeah.
a wiener in the times he chooses to have a spine. Like
Yeah.
he's all over the place. He's not a great protagonist.
Well, he was a child.
Yeah.
He's a little
Again,
A little bit, but
Again, keep in mind, yeah, these are all like people in their early 20s, and
Yeah.
not to talk shit on anybody out there in their early 20s, but
You're
like,
a child. You're a small child. You have a lot
compared
of-
to Lieutenant South Burning,
yeah, or
You're a
Gato.
child.
Yeah.
yeah,
you're a child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a lot of life to live.
yeah. You're still green, guys.
Anyways,
So
the end.
did you pick up on Seema being a double agent for the Earth Federation?
No. When was
Yeah.
that apparent?
Okay, so there's a few. So first you get when she also goes to the lunar base or lunar planet,
Yeah.
and she goes into the back door to get resupplied, right? So
Okay.
that's your kind of first.
I mean, she
Okay.
kills the guy. She kills the main, the leader of the fleet or whatever, right?
Yeah, but that's much later.
Yeah.
We're
Okay.
talking about when they were like hanging out. This is the Kelly arc,
Oh.
right?
Yeah,
so
this is earlier on.
Okay.
yeah, so that's your first taste.
She's going to steal her shit.
right? And then after that, you see the moment where the one Fedi general is like, "Why is this ship going after these guys? Like, they don't know what they're doing." And then it's like, "Oh," she says something like, "I wonder what that man looks like letting us get away.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna have to figure that out later, right?"
Yeah.
So that's your second hint.
Okay.
And then the third really big one is when she fucking kills
Murders.
Yeah, murders the guy.
Yeah.
Murder.
But also, like, it was so the solar system too that they were trying to fire up to destroy
Oh,
the
yeah, yeah.
colonies.
Yeah.
Seema's forces were fighting to
Yeah.
protect the solar system too and to make it operational.
I miss it.
Yeah, it's okay. There was a
Yeah.
lot going on, dude.
There's
Yeah.
a lot going
There was a
on.
lot going on.
Yeah,
It
in that
didn't take
second
away
half,
from the enjoyment,
yeah.
I'll be honest with you.
The second half there is like a lot going on and happening,
pieces,
but
yeah.
it is a very exciting
I think
space war.
It adds a little bit to Seema's character, you know, knowing that, and like
Yeah.
especially on a rewatch, like you'll definitely probably pick up a little bit more of what's going on with her.
I feel like this watches well a second time. I feel like it has to.
dude,
Yeah.
5th, 6th, 7th time,
Yeah.
very, very good watch.
Nice.
You know, I would honestly just watch the last half like over and over again.
All
Like, because there's just so much good fucking battles.
a lot of good battles.
A lot of good animated battles. I mean, like when I go watch Gundam,
Yeah.
I watch it for two things: Gundams
Yeah.
and battles.
Kind of same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but still, you
Gundam
appreciate
battles.
them different.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
sure, yeah.
appreciate them differently.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate them now that I have a real good screen to watch it on.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah,
Thanks
dude.
to
you
Mikey.
do.
Hey, I'm glad this one ended up on a better screen.
Yeah, I don't watch
'cause
it on an old little TV anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. 'cause
Your
this
laptop
is-
screen.
This is a good looking one.
It was good looking.
Yeah.
All right, so Jordy, what score do you give it?
I gave it an 8 out of 10.
Happy birthday
to you. Happy birthday.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fucking sick, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, there were plot holes
Yeah.
and like qualms, you know what I mean? But none of them really took away from the enjoyment. It just really was like a wild ride. It's Top Gun, which is fucking primo. It's Top Gun and Star Wars,
Yeah.
which are two primo things. It was relatively easy to follow, even despite even missing the things I missed. I still felt like I was able to follow what was going on.
Totally.
Which says something about
Missing the Seema thing, it barely changes the story,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, I think so.
Even
It's fine.
all the way
Yeah.
up to the point where like she just kind of turns around and kills.
She does some
the-
weird
yeah,
shit that is
but yeah.
explained, but otherwise,
Yeah.
who fucking cares?
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, that's a great score,
Nice,
man.
man.
You're welcome.
I'm very happy with
You
that.
like Gundam.
I think I like Gundam.
You like Gundam.
Show me a
Yeah.
bad Gundam, which is the one with the tequila Gundam we talked about.
G Gundam.
G Gundam. Yeah.
That's a different universe altogether.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
that's. I like a lot of those side universes that aren't part of the UC at all.
Yeah.
But it's like that particular one is pretty like.
G Gundam is all on its own, dude.
Yeah.
There is nothing like G Gundam. They made that show once.
Yeah.
For a
And
good
never again.
reason.
Never again.
For a good
But
reason.
we'll flip it up because you know what? It actually wouldn't be a terrible time to consider working it into the schedule because chronologically, G Gundam was coming out around where we're at right now.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Early 90s.
Animation wise, it's not nearly as good as this.
No, it's different. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
way
different. Also, much more racist.
The Tequila Gundam is
Yeah.
enough.
Tequila Gundam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah.
What about you, Jay? What's your score?
I mean, my gripes are minor. I can explain most of them away. And my love for everything else about this is so insanely immense that for me, it's a 9.5 all day.
No.
Boom.
Yeah, I'm. It's not perfect. I
Yeah.
won't go that far, and there are a few things a few tweaks I would make, but otherwise, it's legendary for me. This is a top 5 shit for me.
Damn.
Yeah,
Fucking sweet.
yeah, man.
What's the Mal score? I want to know what the Mal score
What's
is.
your score?
Okay. I will say what your Mal ask what the Mal score is, and then I will give my score
Okay,
while
go ahead.
he's looking up the Mal score.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna give it 2 scores.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 scores actually.
Whoa,
I'm gonna give it 3 scores.
unprecedented.
The first few episodes, I'm gonna give it an 8. Then we got
The Kelly arc.
the Kelly arc. No, like just pre Kelly arc, I'm gonna give it a 7. And then after the Kelly arc, I'm gonna give it a 9.
Wait, say that again.
So the first 2 episodes.
8, 7, 9.
First 2 episodes.
Yeah, first 2 episodes.
They get their own score because obviously.
Yeah, the
8.
first few
Yeah.
few
And the rest
episodes.
are 7, and then the back half is 9.
The back half is 9.
Okay, so what's
Very
the
logical.
So what's the average between a 7, an 8, and a 9?
That's an 8.
I guess it's an 8.
I guess that's your score.
Yeah.
I guess you. Yeah.
But
guess
I
you
have
hated
to
it.
give because they're so different.
Yeah, but it averages out, man. You're talking about the series as a whole. We didn't give individual episode scores.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I fucking did.
Yeah, you did.
Happy birthday to me.
7.2 on my anime list.
Oh, the internet doesn't like it. The internet hates it.
Gundam's divisive, man.
Yeah, Gundam is
Some,
divisive.
some people just don't get it. Some people just don't care,
Yeah.
and like they're just not going to enjoy
I think I
something
get
like
it.
this.
I wonder if I didn't like Star Wars, if it would hit as hard.
I said in the very first Gundam episode we did that you were
Yeah.
primed to like this with
think
your
so.
love of Star Wars.
I think so.
I think the other thing though is mech is its own genre, and there's not a lot of people that are really into mech the same way as they are into other animes, right? The guys who really like mech, like
Yeah,
us,
you're almost
right?
like a different type of fan if
Yeah.
you're into mech.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
it's almost a different thing
Interesting.
because it's like it's so like a lot of times it's self-referential. A lot of the times it's mech stuff likes to reference other mech stuff. It likes to draw on inspiration from other mech stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like mech anime really is its own subgenre.
Yeah.
But I think this is the absolute best of the mech genre. Like as far as like straight up real robot, real war
Yeah.
type shit, this
Yeah.
is tops. If you want to get into some of the more science fiction-y, crazy, religious stuff, Evangelion obviously would be
Yeah.
right up there as top shit. But then, we got goofy shit, really subversive stuff like Gurren Lagann, which
Yeah,
we're
but
gonna,
Gurren Lagann is
which
its
we're gonna
own
get to.
thing.
You guys have been
which
talking
is-
about that since the
but
day
it's,
I met you.
but this is what I mean. It's
Yeah.
mecha,
Yeah.
right? But it's nothing like this.
Okay.
No, and it is a good. It's
different.
like it's different. It's but also like the story is so good. The characters are so fucking good. I love Gundam. I love the character, the suit designs. Those are some of my all-time favorites. But as far as just story goes, I would say Gurren has a better story than any Gundam story.
Interesting.
But I like the suits
Yeah.
in
Interesting.
Gundam more.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Cool. Cool. Well, guys,
We did
Jordy,
it.
where can people find you?
You can find me at Reaching In on Instagram.
Sweet. Happy birthday, Jay. Did you have fun?
I did. It was a good time. This is my
Happy
fave. Yeah, you can find me at hanger.91 on Instagram and hanger91.bigcartel.com. I will definitely be putting some of my old Stardust Memory merch that I've designed up for sale. So I'm bringing that back from the dead. If you like this,
It's coming back.
I think you guys will like what I have up there. So go check it out.
Sweet deal. Yeah. And you guys can find me at Shmanime Pod on TikTok and Instagram. I'm mostly on TikTok. And come join the Discord too, because it's a lot of fun. Last thing, never not kittens. Please-
Kittens.
Kittens. Meow,
Kittens
meow,
in
meow, meow.
space.
Yes, we're a nonprofit. Please donate if you can. There's a TikTok link down below on our YouTube page. And yeah, thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Love you. Don't be a Nina.
Don't be a Purpleton.
Bye, guys.